The SMU Mustangs are fresh off a bludgeoning of the previously undefeated Pitt Panthers this past Saturday and are now a serious contender in the college football playoff.
We're just going fast like we normally do. They couldn't keep up.
How's it going today? My name is Jesse McNamer and welcome to Point of View. Before we get into it today, I just want to say we always appreciate your feedback. I look forward to reading your comments like the one we've got here. Hey, if that's how you feel, I can't stop you. It is what it is. Also, be sure to stay tuned to the end of this episode to see if you can guess today's trivia question down below. To today's topic, can the Mustangs continue to rise up the college football rankings and be a serious threat to the nation's top teams? The answer to me right now is a resounding yes, but that wasn't the case for anyone except some of the SMU faithful just a couple of months ago. In the ACC's preseason poll released in July, the Mustangs were picked to finish 7th in their first year as a member of the conference. That seemed pretty fair at the time, but clearly not enough weight was put on the come up of the program since Rhett Lashlee arrived in 2022. He went on an unflashy 7-6 in his first year at the helm, took the program to an 11-win season last year, which was the Mustangs' most wins in a season since 1982, the year before Lashlee was born. But of course, that was a different conference with lesser competition, so to think they may need at least a few seasons to adjust to the new landscape wasn't a crazy idea by any means. Well, thanks to some elite complementary football, it didn't take any time at all to find themselves tied at the top of the conference through 9 weeks. And a ton of credit for that has to go to Lashlee for making the change from Preston Stone to Kevin Jennings during the team's only loss of the season against BYU in Week 3. He's not a perfect QB by any means, as evidenced by his 5 turnovers against Duke 2 weeks ago, but even after a performance like that, he had Nick Saban saying on ESPN College Game Day that Jennings was the most underrated player in the country. And he proved that the legendary coach just might be right by putting up a huge bounce-back performance against Pitt to the tune of 306 passing yards and 2 touchdowns with a 68% completion rate. After the game, Lashlee praised Jennings for putting his past performance behind him. Here's what the head coach had to say about that after the game.
Kevin responded like we all thought he would because we know him. And, when a game like that happens, yes, every time I saw anyone all the way till this game today, I got asked about 6 turnovers and that's fair. And that means he's getting asked about it. And I get it. Until you go out and prove that what we thought was true, that he had 7 starts, 6 great ones and 1 rough one. Well, 6 to 1 is a pretty good ratio. Every quarterback has a tough start. This is what we thought, but he's got to go out and do it. And then he cut it loose and played. He didn't play timid. That's what you were worried about as a coach, is he's going to go out there and try not to make mistakes because, and he didn't. I mean, the throw he made to Mucci on the 3rd and long, back shoulder, he made a couple other great throws, a touchdown throw to Bouchard, a throw late to Keyshawn, even the one that got called back, like he was playing free and playing aggressive, and that's what we wanted him to do.
It's a credit to both Jennings and the coaching staff to make sure the offense didn't change the way they play, because it's a huge reason they're in the position they are heading into the bye week. Jennings has now thrown for 1,900 yards and 12 scores while completing 65% of his attempts. He's also averaging 9.7 yards per attempt, which is 2nd in the ACC, only behind Cam Ward, and his ESPN passer rating of 161.3 is 3rd in the conference. I mentioned complimentary football earlier, and I think the biggest reason the Mustangs are pushing for a postseason spot is the defense. If you don't agree, let us know why on X, because I find it hard to believe they would be 8-1 on the season and 5-0 in conference play without some of the pick-me-up games the D has had when the offense is struggling. And there's really no better example of that than the overtime victory over Duke. Despite losing the turnover battle by 6, the defense didn't allow a single point off of any of those turnovers. That's nearly unheard of, but it's just the type of defense Lashlee and defensive coordinator Scott Simons have cultivated. After this past weekend's demolishing of undefeated Pitt, Lashlee had this to say when asked about the steady improvement of the defense since he arrived in Dallas.
Well, 2 things. 1, Scott Simons, Maurice Crum, Ricky Hunley, Calvin Thibodeau, Sam Dunham, and everybody else on that defensive staff. They're special. They're really good. And I'm so thankful they're on my side. Then the second thing is, just as equally as important, give the credit to our players. At SMU, we've been known as an offensive school. And a lot of times that doesn't come with toughness. Now, we really believe that we're a tough team on offense, but our defensive guys starting last year changed the culture of SMU football from a defensive standpoint. And it all started with physicality. We have a group that believes in physicality and swarming to the ball, and a lot of that has to do with stopping the run. So our players and our defensive staff deserve all that credit, and they went out and they put the work in, because that's how life works. You don't just get anything by hoping for it. They went out, got the right young men in here to be on our team. They coached them up the right way, put them in position to be successful, and then they went out and did the hard part and did it.
You heard it from the head honcho himself. It's the entire defensive unit, from the coaches to the players, that has this team humming on all fronts. They now rank second in the conference with 21.8 points per game allowed and have the fewest total points allowed by ACC teams with 9 games played. So although they may fly under the radar by the powerhouses of college football, they are every bit a contender as any other team in what seems to be a wide-open CFP picture. They've got the coach, the quarterback, and the defense to continue to push for some trophies that no one but the true Mustang fans would have expected to be possible. And hopefully they do collect some hardware, because the Dallas Cowboys sure won't this season. For more on how they are in a miserable state right now, check out this past episode of Point of View. And the moment you've been waiting for, here's the answer to today's trivia question. We appreciate you tuning in. We will see you in the next one.